Hello, everybody. I'm going to put together a series of videos to show you how to create the different isometric parts in Fusion. And I want to start off with setting up how I want your project folder created and where all your files should be saved. So first things first is when you open up Fusion, typically get a screen that looks like this. What you need to do is click on the left icon over here that says Show Data Panel. You're going to click on that, and you're going to click on the blue button up here, New Project. You're going to title the project, typically title it the class name. For this case, I'm just going to title it Practice Shapes. Click Enter, and that's going to create a new project, and everything I save is going to go into this folder here. So I'm going to open up that folder, and then all my files will be in this file, in this folder here. So I can click the X on that now, make my screen bigger to be able to see everything. So again, we're going to create all these 11 shapes right here. I'm just going to go in order 1 through 11. So the first one we're going to do is the shape number 1. With these shapes, the grid spacing is 0.5 inches. So every square that you see on here is a ½ inch. So this shape is 7 squares long, which makes this 3.5 inches long. The height of it is 5 squares, which makes it 2.5 inches. So there's many ways of creating these shapes. As long as you get that measurements correct, everything looks correct. I don't necessarily care how you do it. But I'm just going to show you the ways that I do it. I think they're a little bit quicker in creating them this way. So first things first, you can tell at the top it says Untitled. Over here in your browser it says Unsaved. So I want to save the file to give it a name so it's automatically saved. We'll call this ISO Shapes. Okay, the location, the Practice Shapes folder project that I created, it's already selected for me. That's where I want it to go. If it's not there, you can just click on the arrow down and you can find where your project folder is. So I'm going to click Save. And then you can see at the top it says ISO Shapes. And over here in the browser it says ISO Shapes as well. It is saved. With these shapes, you're going to create it using new component for each one. It should have 11 shapes, so you should have 11 components. So this is the main file that everything is saved under. So what you need to do is you're going to create a new component. So it pops down here in the bottom of the browser. I'm going to go to Create. I'm going to click on New Component. Over here is going to be internal shape because it's going to be inside this file that we created. And I'm going to change the name. I'm just going to call it ISO 1. Keep everything else the same. Click OK. So now you can see at the bottom of your browser here, ISO 1. That is active. It's the activated component because I got the little black dot here making it selected. If it wasn't active, okay, the black dot would be up here showing ISO Shapes is active. But I want this to be active, so I'm going to click on that, and this is where I'm going to start creating my shape. So again, the way I'm going to do this one is I'm going to create like an L shape here. Okay, so it's 3.5 long by 2.5 tall. So the way I'm going to do this one, I'm going to create a sketch. So the sketch is right here. It's the first tool that we can use under the solid tab. It's got that little green plus. So I'm going to click on Create Sketch. And now it wants me to select on what plane I want to sketch on. Okay, so we got the front plane here. This is the bottom or top plane, and this is like your side plane. So I'm going to click on my front plane for the way I'm going to sketch this one. So it's like the X, Z, as you can see in my cube over here, the navigational cube. The red is the X, the blue is the Z. So I'm going to click on this plane here, and I'm looking straight on. So I'm going to start by making 2-point rectangles. Okay, that's going to be the second tool over here now, where it says 2-point rectangle, or you can click the letter R on your keyboard for the shortcut. So I'm going to click on 2-point rectangle, and using this tool, it wants you to first click the first corner. So I'm going to click down here in my origin for my first corner, and if I move the cursor off to the right, it wants me to change or make the second corner, which is the top part of the square. But the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to measure it as I go along. So if you see in the bottom, the blue text, okay, that is what is active right now, and that's what my measurement is. Okay, so I want to change it as I go. So I'm going to type in 3.5, and then I'm going to hit the tab key on the keyboard, and that is going to be it's going to be this bottom part of the L, which is going to be 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to type in 1, and I'm going to hit enter. So I got the bottom part of my L. So now I'm going to make the top part of the L, which is going to be right here. So that's going to be another 2-point rectangle on top of this. It's going to be 1.5 inches by 1 inch. I'm going to go 2-point rectangle, and I want to click on my corner, top left corner of the square rectangle here for my first point. So it's going to be 1 inch wide. So I'll type in 1, tab, 1.5, enter. So from here I got my L shape, but I got 2 different closed shapes. So I'm going to make this one closed shape. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to get rid of these lines that are right here. And to do that, I'm going to use the trim tool, which looks like these pair of scissors. The trim tool, all you do is find the line that you want to trim away, and it will turn purplish. So click on that line once. Okay, now if you notice there's another line there. That's because I put 2 rectangles on top of each other. So I click it one more time, and now I got one shape. So if I can scroll over the mouse, I can see that it is one solid shape, and it shows that it is fully enclosed. So from here, I'm going to extrude this a total of 2.5 inches. Okay, to extrude it, you can either type the letter E on the keyboard, or you can finish sketch and hit extrude. So if I hit finish sketch, I can come over here to the extrude option. Since this is the only profile that is selected, it's going to be automatically selected. So over here in the extrude area, it says profiles, there's already one selected. The extent type, that's going to be the distance. I want this distance, again, it's going to be 2.5 inches. Okay, and it's extruding off in this direction here. The operation's new body, because we're creating a new shape. So from here, I'm going to click OK. And now I got a solid shape. So now what I need to do is I need to create these cutouts along my shape. And to do that, I'm going to use the sketch tool and 2-point rectangle again. So I'm going to go ahead and click on create sketch. This time I'm going to click on the face that I want to sketch on. So I'm going to click on this face right here. You can see it takes it to 2-dimensionally looking at the top of the shape. So I'm going to use another 2-point rectangle. Now I want to click on the far side of the shape here to snap my rectangle to, and afterwards I can make the measurements for it. So one thing you can notice is it turns into a blue X when it snaps to a line. So I'm going to click first to set my point, and the length of this is going to be 1.5. Then I'm going to click tab, it's going to be 0.5. And I'm going to click enter. So you can see I got a rectangle here now. So from here, I am going to measure the distance because this rectangle is centered along this shape. So I'm going to click on the dimension tool right here. It's called sketch dimension. You either click on the tool, or you can type the letter D on the keyboard for the shortcut. So I'm going to click, and I want to measure the distance between the top edge of this shape and this rectangular line here. So I'm going to click on the top line, and then this line right here, I'm going to come off to the right so I can see my measurement. I'm going to click one time to set the measurement. So it's going to be a measurement of 1 inch. And as you can see, after I hit 1, enter, it moved the shape centered. I do not need to measure this distance here because I already have the 1 inch here and I got this 1/2 inch here. So this makes this fully dimensioned. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to extrude it. So I'm going to type in the letter E on the keyboard this time. And now I got multiple profiles. So it wants me to select the profile that I want to extrude. So I'm going to click on the rectangle, and you see the arrows pointing up. So what I want to do with this time, instead of the operation being new body, I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on cut because I want to cut away the material. Okay, so the distance this time for the extend type, I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click all. So this is automatically going to cut through all of the part right here. As you can see, the red kind of looks like it's cut away already. So from here, I'm going to click OK. Now my shape is cut away. So now I just need to do the top part up here. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with this slot. I'm going to go to create sketch. I'm going to click on this face. It makes it two-dimensional looking straight at the right side of the object. I'm again going to use the 2-point rectangle. I'm going to click on the top line up here. Again, it turns into like a blue X when it snaps to a line. Click one time, come down to the right. Now I'm going to type in 1.5. It is a length of 1.5 and click the tab key on the keyboard. And that measurement is going to be 0.5. I'm going to click enter. So now I need to center this rectangle on my shape. So I'm going to use the dimension tool. Click on my far left line and this line of the rectangle. Come up here and click one time to set the measurement, and I'm going to change it to 0.5 and then click enter. So now that is centered on my shape. So just like the other one, I'm going to type in the letter E for extrude. Click on that rectangle I just made. Change the operation from new body to cut and the distance to all. And it's going to go through the other side to cut that object. And then click OK. And that is shape number 1.